Hello Internet, it's Zach back again. Another episode of Phototherapy. This time I was in Chattanooga. This is Coolidge Park that I'm at right here. Chattanooga is a place that I go pretty frequently, so I don't usually find anything now because I've been there so many times, but I figured this would be a good place to go on a whim. I went here Tuesday, January 7th, 2020. These first few shots here are just my warm-up shots. It was about 3 o'clock. No, I think it was closer to... No, it was about 3 or 4. So the sun was starting to cast some shadows, so it was peak photo time. I usually like taking pictures of the graffiti, or street art. A lot of these are JPEG. You can kind of pick out the ones that I edited the RAWs of, but again, JPEGs on Fujifilm, they're pretty good. I do have an inkling just to do a full episode of this with just JPEGs and just editing the just going by feel on the film simulations. This one here, I had to crop quite a bit, and this was an issue I was having the entire day. All these kids were looking at this barge going by, and I had to crop a lot of these. I'm on a 35mm f2 here, and I feel like a lot of these would have been better with a 50 or a 23, and that's kind of what I'm finding. Maybe the 16 Fuji makes, the 1.4. I feel like that would be a really good lens for something like this. I've had it before, but I didn't like it. It's a very complicated little focal length to get right, especially street. But I feel like a 23 and a 50, especially the f2 versions, I'm not sure. I'm kind of debating on switching up my lenses again, as I do. Today I used the 18-55 and the 35 f2. The 18-55 is a little bit longer, a little bit later on in the video. This right here I think was the best shot of the day. I really like the frame in a frame, the bokeh and everything like that. I just think this really worked pretty well. The sun coming in and hitting him right where it needed to. It was like he was meant to be there. This is a Walnut Street Bridge. If you ever have a chance to come through here, especially in the spring and the summer, this is usually just has a bunch of street performers and everything on it. It's pretty cool place. I tried again from the other angle just because that first one looked so good to me, but it didn't work. You can see how much I had to crop in that first one just by the framing of this one. And I don't know, I just feel like the 50 f2 and the 23 f2 would be a better choice. So we're going more into downtown Chattanooga here, walking past this building. I see all these bottles. For some reason, I don't know, my eye kind of gets drawn to glass bottles. I don't know why, but it does. I feel like that turned out okay. The reflection, the glare from the window and everything like that, I think that looked pretty good. I stumbled by this little pathway ramp deal, and I feel like there could have been something here. I don't know if it needed a person leaning up against the rail or what, but I tried it a few different ways, but as usual, I like it better when I'm closer to the ground. But yeah, I think that could have been good. And I think this door could have been good too, because everything was kind of brown and muted, and then there's just red rails and a red door. I feel like that could have been better, but I was just trying stuff out here. Downtown Chattanooga is a pretty peaceful place to walk. It's just big enough. I jaywalked like 50 times, by the way. I hope you're not mad at me. But Chattanooga is just big enough to not stress me out but it's not so small that you don't have anything to do. But places like Atlanta, Birmingham, Nashville, the places that are around me, sometimes they're just a little bit too big. Now here I wander up on something. I think I could have done something better with this one as well. I think I could have got closer to the rubble concrete right there. I tried up high and it wasn't good, so again I went down lower, and that always to me makes a better shot. But I feel like if I would have got closer, I think that could have turned out better. I still like that one though. It's okay. I like the shadows and the highlights in that one. If I had to give myself a style, you're about to see it. A style that I strive for anyways, just this minimal look. I just love, to me this is such a cool shot, and I'm my biggest critic and I still love that one. I love the minimal aspect of things. With the shadows coming in right there, I took this as a picture of these stairs again, and threw it in black and white, and I just think the way the shadows and everything plays with each other right there looks pretty good. Not hating it today. Now this was just kind of a segue, but it's easy to take a picture of a fence and blow out the background, right? So again, walking further into downtown, and this is something I've been trying to do, is notice numbers. So like they say, things in sets of 3 usually make a good picture. So I had a 3x3 right here. It wasn't, I don't know, it probably would have been better with like a model or something, but I've never really been much of a portrait photographer. I took a picture of this stop sign too because it was there and the graffiti on it. But whatever, just unedited JPEGs right there. Usually winter is so dead in nature that it's hard to find anything, so I really like to mix nature with urban. And then spring, summer, fall, I like to be more in the parks and things. But this right here I think is a good example of that, like the last leaf hanging on to the fence and everything like that. I like that one. Another segue, we're going further into downtown here. There's a lot of bus stops that I kind of hung around with. In typical Zach fashion, I also shot up into a tree. There was this, whatever that is, hanging in the tree. But there was a lot of opportunities here that I've missed just because my eye is still not street savvy yet. But whatever. I see this sign kind of lighting up right here with all the darkness and everything, and I knew it was gonna make a pretty good photo, if not just run of the mill boring. I like it. I think that's a pretty good one. Right to the left of that, I was looking, and I think this would be a cool shot, especially for maybe like a Halloween themed shoot or something. If there was someone in this parking deck, I think this would have been awesome, but there wasn't, so I took a couple shots just to try to remember it, just in case I'm back in the area and want to try this again. But yeah, I think the green light right there mixed with everything else. Now, in typical Chattanooga fashion, I meet a homeless man. He talked to me for a good 5 minutes or so, but he was wanting money for alcohol, and I don't know. I just can't sympathize as much with that as someone who's just really wanting something to eat. And he told me he'd already had that. Maybe I'm a bad person. I don't know. I come by here. This is a courthouse, I think, and I feel like these two signs made good parallels to each other. This right here is another example of how I wish I had a longer lens, because you can see the moon above this building, and I feel like a longer lens would have compressed that a little bit better and maybe been a better shot, but I didn't have one. I guess I could use my 18-55 there, but at this point I had not yet pulled it out. This power line pole kind of started catching my eye, I think because the way the sun was hitting it turned into another one of the minimal shots that I think just look cool. Shots like that, I don't know what about them makes them good to me, but I just like them. People do that kind of stuff all the time, and it's just random things that just shouldn't be good looking, but they are aesthetically pleasing to me. Come up on a church here, and I take a shot off to the left of the window, and I'm looking at the staircases, and I feel like these would be better, like trying to make it symmetrical. And I, got as symmetrical as I could there. I think that looks okay. A lot of these in post, I was having to crank down the exposure on. Like this building right here, I feel like this would have been a better shot if I had exposed more for the building, made it a little bit darker. That's something I'm going to keep an eye on. And now this one right here, I was torn on which composition I liked better. Just this little alleyway. I feel like if there was someone in this alleyway, this would have been awesome. But anyways, I don't know if I like it better wide, or I took another one a little bit tighter toward the fence. I don't know if I like that one better or the other one. I think wide. I think I like the wide one better. Crosswalks to me are always an easy one to take. I think the way the shadow hits right there, I like it. I like that shot with the sunset and everything. It's kind of hard to make things not look good this time of day. Just wandering more downtown. A lot of churches and everything like that. A lot of stuff that would look good, especially as a backdrop for a model shoot. But again, I'm not much of a portrait photographer. I was trying to make something happen with this tree, but it wasn't going to click. I'm always trying to do stuff with trees, I've been noticing. While I have this dead time in the video, where are your favorite places to shoot, especially if they're close to me, like in the Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia range? If anyone's watching around that area, I would love to have some recommendations of where to shoot, because I kind of go to the same places all the time, and that's fun, but sometimes you want a little variation, you know? Now I took a picture of that building right behind me. I didn't show it right there, but I'm about to. I was looking at these shadows, the way they're casting off of these lights. I stayed here for a while, but I actually wound up settling on the first one I took right before that car passed through. It looks okay, but this one here is another one I had to lower the exposure on, but I think this one looks really good as well. I don't know what about it is, just the way the sun's hitting. Everything just looks good this time of day. Now from here on out, I'm on the 18 to 55, and this is another example of what I'm talking about, where the 35 just feels like a compromise. Because I shoot this one closer to 50. This next one coming up, and I just feel like it just hits a different way. I don't know what it is about it, but I just like this better. I just think that one looks great. The compression and everything. I was up in some apartment districts right here. I was trying to make some stuff happen with these rails and the shadows and everything, but it was a no-go. A lot of symmetry in these downtown areas, and I feel like there's a lot of opportunity. Nothing ever really panned out, but I feel like it really could have on a different day, maybe. And once again, I'm about to show another example of why, I don't know, maybe I just need to use the 18 to 55, but I feel like a 23 and a 50 on Fuji would be a great combo, more so than the 35. The 35 is a good like single lens but it's still a compromise. Because I shot this guy at 18, 23, 35, and 55, and I landed on the 55. I liked the compression of everything and how it all went together. You can really tell in this tree how much closer it looks to him and everything. I just think that looks more appealing than 35 ever would have. I was wondering back on the other bridge across the way from the Walnut Street Bridge, which is over there to the right, you can see in the corner. Making my way home, my Osmo Actions battery was starting to die, so I only have one. I need to fix that. But I think this is a cool bridge. A lot of shapes and symmetry and everything like that. If you go back on my earlier videos, I think my first video with the X-T3 that I used to have, I think was shot here. Trying to just get some symmetry shots there. Even if nothing really came of it, it was still fun to shoot. It was about this time that I started hearing my Osmo start beeping that it's at 5%, 2%, whatever it was beeping at, but I could start hearing it. There's a few other shots that I get here toward the end. But it was really just jam-packed with traffic. I wish it wasn't, because a lot of times I'll go out on the road and take a shot down the road with the bridge making like converging lines. It's, another easy kind of shot to take that can train your eye a little bit better. But once again, while we have some dead time, I would love to hear some opinions on what I should do as far as lenses go. I could keep the 35, which I think is a compromise between the 23 and the 50. And I could get the 16mm 1.4, and that'd be a good combo. But I think the 16 is also a compromise. Every time I used it, I thought it was a compromise between ultra wide angle and a normal wide, like a 23. So I feel like the 23 and the 50, and then maybe get like a Rokinon 12mm would be my ideal street shooting setup. And then just ditch the 18 to 55 and only have it just if I want to have one lens with me and make it my one lens setup. Sell the 35 f2. I haven't really decided yet. I'm still mulling all that over. Now here I'm about to just hit with a rapid fire of just different images. This was the last one of the day these are the last few of the day that I took. Nothing special in these either. I like the underexposed look of them. I think that's pretty cool, but these are just like the last ones that didn't make the cut really. Thank you to everybody that's been watching these with me. And I guess that's about it. I do have one little piece of news. In 2020, I'm going to be a dad. Should be July when that happens. So about that time of year, get ready to be flooded with pictures of my baby. Life is good. Talk to you soon.